Hey everybody, I just wanted to get on here and talk about the InstaQuest that I put up about why it's so difficult for us to sit by ourselves idly, like just not stimulated with our phones, um, just sit with our thoughts, and why that's so difficult for us. So it's kind of like a two-part question, because I know some people answer to the part about like being alone, and then other people answer to the part about like not being stimulated. So either one or both. I'm going to try to talk a little bit about both. And I put out some suggestions like, is it social pressure? Is it loneliness? Is it fear of the truth, or fear of our thoughts? Something like that. And everybody gave really good answers and different, which I like. Just getting new perspectives on things, stuff that I haven't thought about, and like seeing if people agree or disagree, like that's really cool. But one thing I wanted to talk about was, I think a lot of it does have to do with, at least actually both parts, the stimulation and the being by ourselves, has to do with our culture, like Western culture, especially in America. Somebody mentioned this in one of their answers, but I really agree. It's that like the whole American dream, the whole like American way is like to stay working, to stay being productive, like to stay focused, to always do things that have like a purpose and meaning, and like never stop, basically, because stuff like time is money, like those types of thoughts. And I do think that there is meaning and purpose and importance in sitting by ourselves and being able to like have time for ourselves and with ourselves, like not being stimulated by the outside world, not being distracted, like just sitting by ourselves. And it's something that I also wanted to bring up. Something else that I wanted to bring up was how I think if we keep going at this rate, like eventually throughout evolution, we're going to like adapt, and we're going to need to be stimulated all the time, and like we're just going to keep that stimulation going, because the way technology is advancing and how stimulated we already are, it's like it just seems, and I don't know the science behind it, but that makes sense to me. It's like our brains are going to get so used to being stimulated all the time, or like most of the time, that yeah, what do you do when you just sit by yourself? Like that's why it feels so odd and like uncomfortable, is because that's what we're used to. That's our comfort zone. And I think another, like everything that I mentioned in like suggest in the suggestions, little part of InstaQuest about like societal pressures, loneliness and fear, all that stuff, like I really think it all plays a role. Like for some more than others, it can vary, I think, but I think people are also just like afraid, not afraid in like what's gonna happen, but like just afraid of that uncomfortability, afraid of the unknown, like what it's like to just sit there and be by yourself, like, or afraid to be bored, or afraid to like, I don't know. It's kind of odd to think of like getting to know yourself. Like I think that's something that everyone wants to do, and it sounds like this, like it's really romanticized. Like it sounds like a really good idea, and like a really like admirable goal that people have, like getting to know themselves. And like when people talk about that, it's always like, wow, like it's astonishing and all that, but like nobody wants to put in the real work to do it. Like even myself, like I would say like I want to get to know myself better and stuff like that, but I'm not doing as much as I should, or as much as I could be doing to like foster that relationship with myself. And, it's all part of self-love and stuff like that. So like I said, there is definitely importance in it, getting to know yourself, because when you understand yourself, you're able to understand other people better. And when you have more love and care for yourself, you're able to love and care for other people better. I'm trying to think, what else was I thinking about? Like I said, I don't really edit these videos, so sometimes there's going to be moments where I'm just trying to get my thoughts straight or trying to think a little more about it, think deeper into the question. So there's going to be some silence and stuff like that. But I don't know. I think it's kind of cool because this is just like me just talking off the top of my head. Like, it's not scripted. I didn't have the chance to write it down. Like, sometimes I write out the InstaQuest answers, and originally I did do that. And I liked that because I was able to, like, get clear and concise thoughts. And, like, I felt like it was easier for people to understand what I'm talking about. And it was just clear cut to the point. But I also like this way, too, just because it's kind of, like, more raw, more real, personable. But yeah, like, I think a big factor is the fear part. And then, like, as far as taking it one by one, like the loneliness and the non-stimulation part, like, I feel like a lot of people don't want to be alone because maybe they don't want to feel that, like, loneliness, or they automatically seem like, oh my gosh, I'm not with somebody, I'm not doing something, like something's wrong. They have something in their brain, something in their mind that's telling them that's wrong. Whether that stems from societal pressures, I'm sure, yes. Or just like the way they were raised, maybe, like just in their household, maybe they were always like surrounded by people or just had a lot of friends and stuff like that. But I think it's good to have you time, like just by yourself, even if you're stimulated a little bit, even better if you're not stimulated at all, just because it's like refreshing. It's like, I don't have to worry about doing this, that, or this right or this wrong. Like, I don't have to have any cares in the world because it's just me. It's like free to do whatever. And some people may argue, like, I do that when other people around, whatever, whatever, whatever. But the truth is, we all change to an extent, like, depending on our audience or if we have an audience or not. Like, I'm not convinced that there are people out there that act the exact same when they're by themselves than as they do when they're with other people. And I think it depends on who you're around too. But that's another InstaQuest. Like, that would be cool to, like, ask something about different roles that you play in your life, or like code switching, that type of thing. That's interesting. But back to this. But yeah, the non-stimulation thing, I think that's also important to not be stimulated all the time because it gives us a chance to, like, play in our imagination. Even though I think being stimulated by certain things can also foster, like, imagination and, like, encourage it. I think it's also good to be able to do that just inside your own head, like being able to go into your mind and use your imagination without that, like, initial spark or stimulus. And regardless, there's always going to be something that is, like, sparking your imagination. The difference is, like, rather it being on a phone or some type of stimulus, it's just in your head already. It's coming from a previous thought or a memory or something that happened, I don't know, something that you're thinking about that's going to happen in the future, a goal, something like that. So it's good to imagine. I think we talked about that in one of my classes, morality, parenting, and nature, like how much kids, like, and how when we're younger, we use our imagination so much to, like, play and, like, mostly for play, but that's what we talked about. But, and how, like, we get to an age and we just stop doing that. And it's like, why? Because sometimes I be wanting to play. Like, I have this, let me show you. This is just like, I mean, I'm not really playing, but this is fun for me, and it's like stress relief. I forget what this stuff is called, but I got it at Walmart. It was $10. It's called Poopsie something. I don't know. My little cousin Skylar, she had it, and it never dries out, so you can always keep it just wherever. And it's like, let me see if I can show y'all. This is fun. So it gets so soft, like, and it's just, I don't know. This is one form of play for me. I like to play with my friends. We play games sometimes. We play music. I wish I could play an instrument. Anyways, I'm really getting off topic. But no, I love this stuff. And it smells good. And you get it in like this packaging where you don't know what you're gonna get. Like it's a surprise. Like this is one of the options, but there was like a crunch kind of. I don't call this slime because it's not really slime, but there was one with like this crunchy little styrofoam bead stuff in it. There was like a. This one's marshmallow, I think, something, and it has glitter in it. It smells good. Mm, actually, right now it smells like French fries. It didn't smell like that before. It smelled good. Anyways, but when we were younger, we used our imagination, play outside, inside, whatever, and then at some point we just stopped doing that. Like I guess because we're just more focused on work and production and schoolwork, homework, getting to the money. Like money, yeah, that was another big thing. But like, money makes the world go round. Money is important, but it's definitely not everything. And I think that especially in a capitalist society like America, that is hard to even wrap your head around or to remember. Sometimes you got to remind yourself. But yeah, so those are my thoughts. This also this is stimulating. So this is stimulation. Maybe I should stop. But it's I feel like it's stimulating in a good way because it's stimulating my mind to think and to go inside of itself. Like I'm not I'm not thinking about the putty or what's in the putty or anything. Like I'm sitting here thinking about what I'm gonna say in the InstaQuest, and it's just keeping me occupied. So it's not necessary. I wouldn't say like all stimulation is bad stimulation. I'm not trying to vouch for that or anything, but I think just finding that balance. Honestly, balance is the answer to almost anything. I think I was just talking to Summer about my friend Summer. For those of y'all don't know Summer, about how all my InstaQuests could be answered with the word balance, and like I could really talk about balance as an answer to everything because that's the truth. Like all these questions that don't have like concrete answers, it's all about, I really think life in general is just all about moderation, like not going to the extremes. Like it's okay to do this, but not every day, sometimes. Or it's okay to eat this candy, but not for every single meal, but in moderation. Moderation is key. And so if we stimulate ourselves in moderation and we spend time with ourselves and without stimulation in moderation, we would live much healthier, happier lives. Cut. No, but all right, y'all, I'm out. I'm hungry. Thanks for watching, and thanks to everybody that answered. And if y'all have any ideas, definitely DM me on Instagram. My @ is Emma_Ems, EMZZ. And like and subscribe, whatever the YouTubers say. Like, subscribe, comment, repost on other stuff. Yeah. Thanks, y'all. Bye.